being around for the birth of a new genre is one of the coolest things to experience in the video game industry, in my opinion. Be it MOBAs, be it Battle Royales, and in this time around, be it the Vampire Survivor-like or Survivor-like or whatever the internet comes to call this genre. But it is one of those things that I absolutely love because it is always followed by people jumping on a bandwagon and trying to push a genre forward in a million different directions, and seeing what comes from that is just amazing to me. And Death Must Die is a perfect example of this, and something I have just really enjoyed the direction it's taken this genre in. I'm going to call the genre a survivor-like. It's named a number of different things on the internet. I couldn't find anything sort of concrete or a Reddit post that everyone sort of agreed on. So I'm calling it survivor-like. We'll see what the internet comes up with. But for me, this game is a brilliant example of someone seeing a game / birth of a new genre like Vampire Survivors and saying, hey, I've got an idea. Why don't we mix it with like PoE or Diablo? And I really like this thing in Hades, so let's add in some Hades in there as well. And then mix it all up with a roguelike kind of scenario, and you end up with Death Must Die, a really compelling way of pushing Vampire Survivors in a specific direction. Not the correct direction or the only direction, but a direction I adore. It's a 2D pixel game. It's action-based combat, and the combat is a little bit more involved than Vampire Survivors if you choose it to be. We'll get onto that in a little bit. We've got a series of controls here, and we're going to do what we always do, which is go and have a look at the graphics settings. So, VSync, confined cursor, very, 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 very nice to see. AAA developers often do not get this right. Full screen windowed, and exclusive full screen. Brilliant. One thing I've been doing is sat in Final Fantasy 14 waiting for my DPS queues to pop, and I've had this as a window and just sat there playing. It works absolutely brilliantly. I love it. So, yep, we're going at 1440p here. Graphics options. There are several different graphics options. Overlay passes, lighting effects, screen recoloring effects, blur. I keep them all on. It's a 2D game. The graphics settings are quite beyond what it needs. So that is very, very nice to have that kind of thing on. Accessibility. Nice accessibility option here. Some highlight cursor. For anyone with sort of visual, needs some visual aids. Disabled rumble as well for controllers. It's nice for if you have a controller plugged in, you just want it turned off. Also, if you don't like that feeling on your hands, cursor size, you can make it go massive. And also like the pixelation changes in the cursor. It's just part of, it just shows some of the effort that's been put into sort of little things in this game. Some menus look really nice. Pixel art is quite nice. There are variations on the pixel art though, and we'll get onto that maybe a little bit later. We've got controls from here, all rebindable, absolutely spot on. That's perfect. I would have liked to see controller rebinding. This is something I'm big on. Controllers also need to have rebind options as well. And then you've got the gameplay here for power level, show health bars, lots of different stuff. Damage, flashes, sorry, show HP text. Some really, really good QA here as well. So that's nice. Right, yeah, audio split up into several different things. Something Necrosmith got wrong. So it's really nice to see the audios being split up into different things. That's fantastic. But that's pretty much it. What we're going to do is just jump in. So this is our hub, and this is where we come after every single run. It's where our NPCs and our shop sits. It's where we will upgrade our characters and go from there. So this is our hub world. One of the things that the game I do have an issue with is when you speak to the NPCs throughout the world. I'm just seeing if there's anyone that I need to speak to right now, and there is not. But they will have a little shining marker on it, and the text will just run through. The conversation will just go from next one, next, next. And it will not pause and wait for your mouse click to continue the conversation. And that, for me, as someone who is slow at reading, sometimes I'm mid-sentence and the text will go on to the next part of the conversation. I won't have time to read the next, finish the sentence. So that's an issue, and I would change that so it requires an input or a setting in the menu, in the accessibilities menu, is sort of requires input to go on to the next bit of text. That's what I like. But yeah, this is your hub world with all your characters. As you play the game, this gets full up with more and more stuff. More and more NPCs will arrive. All the NPCs I have, minus the shopkeeper at this moment, are playable. You start off with the knight, and you move in and get the sorcerer, and then more and more NPCs do follow in their footsteps. So as you also have, as I've been playing the game, I've been getting these passives, which are very, very nice. I've got this the sign of the chosen one. When you take damage, you become invulnerable for 3 seconds. This effect can't occur more than once every 10 seconds. So that's quite nice. I have quite liked the variation of these. You have more defensive ones and you have more offensive ones, so it's a bit of a choice depending on your play style. I do really like that. The different characters have different passives as well, which is really, really nice. So we're just going to stick with the knight for now. And as you can see, the pixel art is really, really nice. This shop, for instance, is the shopkeeper. The inventory windows, the boxes, the UI is all really nicely done. The areas I have issues on is some of the gods are definitely in their first pass. This is early access title, so they have plenty of time to fix it and brush it up and stuff. But some of the gods are... Some of them have been taken care of, and some of them are definitely in their sort of like first draft kind of thing. So this is the shop. And this is the main progression of the game, I would say. You do have the passives that I just showed you here, but gearing is the main progression. And this is where the game starts to feel a little bit more like PoE or Diablo, an action RPG, than your sort of Vampire Survivors sort of game, where you collect items in-game. And some of the amounts of stats and stuff, again, reminds me very much of this Diablo-style game and less of a Vampire Survivors game. You can see here I have access to all characters' inventories, and I can go in and I can get anything from mythic level items, rare items. Do we have any whites yet? There's a common right there, and there's uncommon. So various variations of rarity and power there. And then you have lots of different stats. A lot of the time I come back to the shop here after every run and double check to see if they've got anything good. And I might turn around, open up the comparison window and be like, that's not so great. I lose a lot of armor, I lose a lot of spell duration. Do gain life and shard pull area, which is the XP pull area. Shards give you XP, and it's the same in Vampire Survivors with the little orbs of XP around the map. I might grab this sword. What's this? This is a DPS increase, attack increase, spell decrease, damage to enemies at 50% life or more. That could be nice. And alteration dices. I'm actually going to grab that. So, and we'll sell the sword I got there. And you can see I had the currency down here as well for the amount of gold I have. And this is the stats of your character. And everything is here. It's all got hover over menus to explain what everything does. What is an alteration dice? What is a reroll dice? What is a banish dice? And it's really, really, really well explained and very, very nice. So I like the fact that I had reroll dice and alteration dice mixed up, and I was able to go here and have a look and be able to tell you that. I also like the fact that the dice rolls for re-rolling your choice of gods or choice of perks is built into your armor. I love that idea, so that's really, really cool. But we'll get on to a little bit more about re-rolling later. In the middle here, we have, after you complete a run, you will unlock the Star Crux, or something like that. Sorry, can't really read that. And you'll be able to make your runs harder for increased item rarity. That's very, very nice. And then that leads into your main progression, which is you're getting more and more rare items, so your character's getting more and more powerful. The first run I started, I struggled quite a lot very early on, and now I can breeze through it and get to the end of the levels quite easily. And that's because the gearing really adds a lot to the power of your character. From here, you also get more little achievements here as well for doing specific things in game, killing skeletons, defeating the Baron. There's one here saying unlock conditions. A cat dies 9 times, so apparently I have to progress that. So we'll see what that is eventually. And you have party-wide ones and you have character-specific ones. So that's nice there. And this area is filling up more and more and more with different stuff every single run. The progression of this area is very much like Hades, where every single run, good or bad, leads to something. I don't think it's as good as Hades, but it is nice that every single run feels like you are pushing forward in progression. That's really, really nice. So we're going to take our knight here, and we're going to go and start a run. So I can show you guys what it's like. You got this nice little loading screen here. And this is a run. Now, if you press Q, you start an auto attack toggle. Very, very much like Vampire Survivors at this moment in time. I prefer to click myself. And unlike Diablo, there's no abilities or anything like that. Everything comes off the perks you will pick up, or in some cases, the items that you pick up. And we're just going to work here until we get our first level up. It's a reasonable pixel art here of the gods. Some is nice, some is a bit... I think this one is okay. It's certainly not the best, it's certainly not the worst. But voice acting, the voice acting is quite nice. And it's nice to have a little bit of voice acting when the gods are introduced and sort of talk to you. So we go here, and every god has their own sort of thing. We've got our re-rolls on the right hand side here. So we got Banish, which will remove that perk from this run. And we've got our Alteration, which will change what the god is, I believe. The Alteration dice re-rolls the god, and the re-roll re-rolls the blessings the god gives you. So in this case, you gain more dice to alter your god offering. We will take an Alteration. Perfect. We got Mortar. This is my favorite god. So what we're going to do here is we're going to grab this curse. We're going to... So every god offers an individual thing. So Mortar focuses on cursed. And so you can affect targets with curse, and then you can also trigger the curse or resolve cursed status immediately, and it will do massive damage. So I love Mortar. This is really, really up my life. And these 3 perks are... I want all of them. I love Lifelink, I love Death Strike, and I love the Ravens. So we're going to pick the Deadly Strike to start with, because I want to make sure I have this. And then we're going to go. And we'll just keep playing. And as you can see, we're picking up these orbs are becoming magnetized and attracting to us. And we're just playing. Down at the very, very bottom of the screen, you see our XP. It's filling up. And sometimes you can see the red marking on the floor here, which is going to indicate an attack from an enemy. We're just going to keep pushing forward until we hit our next level up.
Thrill of battle. The life you're living, mortal.
So this is when we get the next god, and the god of conquest, and I don't think his art is very good. It definitely needs another pass, and that's the sort of variation in the gods that god art that is very inconsistent, in my opinion. Some things are very, very nice, and other things just are not. He does rupturing. Not a massive fan, so we're going to re-roll the god again, and we're actually going to get Lady Justice, which is not a bad one at all. We don't have any healing perks, so I don't want to do this. We're going to grab armor, which is going to lead to armor, which is a defensive, leads to damage reduction. So you can see now, because of all my armor on my gear, I get 51% damage reduction. So that's very, very nice. And we're just going to keep on keeping on. You've got a dodge here, which you have 2 stats with. And then from there, you can also have god blessings that do make your dodge do things. You can hit the ranged attacks of enemies, and it will destroy them, which is really, really nice. And as you can see, things start to get a little bit hectic. So every run is 20 minutes, and every run is exactly the same in the way that what enemies come out at exactly one time.
I'll give you that.
I'm really glad we got this god, actually, the Goddess of Fire. Some of the best art pixel art in the game, in my opinion. There's some inconsistency with it, like her brooch here looks a little bit out of place, but generally really amazing art. The skin tones here on her face and everything are absolutely fantastic. So there is amazing pixel art in this game, and I'm hoping that the other gods are just the first passes. We're going to try and get Mortar again, so we're going to re-roll this. And we do. We got a legendary perk and a master perk. That's absolutely fantastic. Your armor no longer gives you any damage reduction. Whenever you hit an enemy, it restores life. Ooh. I've never had that. That could be really, really fun. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's just see how it goes. So, you can start to see the variation in gods is quite a lot. A lot of them do very different things, very different play styles. When you start picking the gods, it seems to, after the first 2 or 3 gods you pick, it seems to stop offering you more than those gods, so it really allows you to focus and narrow your builds. You're not getting like just loads of things thrown at you. This guy's trying to run away from it. He's got a little bit of flavor text to say how scared he is of my awesome power. Oh, we got a drop. Let's have a look. What is this? So this is some of the in-game progression, as well as progressing your character out of game. You can do it in-game. We've got spell crit and more adept offerings. So as we have a look at that, oh wow, that was a big hit. As we have a look at the gear there, and it said more adept offerings, what we can do is down the bottom left here, you can see the god blessings, and you see adept, expert, master, and legendary. Your gear can have stats on it like this, 6.8% more master offerings, to increase the percentage of the rarity of a god blessing. So most of the time they'll offer you adept offerings or worse, and then you can also stack the same offering multiple times to increase the power of that offering, but you can also get a higher rarity of that offering, and it will also increase the power of that offering. So just earlier, actually perfect. So these are all adept offerings here from the God of Conquest. And what we're going to do is we're going to do alteration and see if we change it. And you see these are now novice. So these are weaker, but from the god we actually want. So whenever you kill an enemy, there is a chance to spawn a weak shard. Cursed enemies have a higher chance of dropping shards. Spawn ravens. We're going to grab the ravens because it links in with our deadly strike here. So we're going to grab the ravens. We're going to see the birds, and they're going to start applying curse to things. And then our normal attack is going to trigger that curse, which is going to lead to some big damage. And this guy, I need to make sure I save a dodge for his attack here. I'm timing it nicely so we can get out. That last one here. Is this life steal? Was very nice early on though.
The daughter bears
Lady
no
of
gift for the
Justice.
sins of her father. Taking Mort's gifts was wise, hero.
Nice. A little bit of conversation there, a bit of text, bit of voice acting about us taking another god and her commenting on it, which is very, really nice. And now we got master and legendary levels, and that these will do more but add to their benefits compared to the novice level of the perk, or blessing. So that's really cool. So I like the fact that there's different levels, and I like the fact that your gear can manipulate that as well. So what we're going to go for here, all minions of death are judged unworthy. Cooldown 20%. Doesn't really say what that does. That's the first time I think I've ever seen something that doesn't explain very well. Should we pick it just to see? It is legendary. Let's just pick it and find out what it... Oh! It's a massive AoE every 28 seconds. That's pretty juicy. Yeah, so that essentially is all the little bits of the game that I have seen. One of the things is the game is constantly adding stuff to sort of like the progression of the game. When I first started, I only had gear and bad gear, and now I've got passives and a lot more gods and yeah, the game is starting to become more and more intriguing. A lot more classes are added to the game as well. And the fact this is an early access and it is polished from a technical aspect, if not an artistic aspect, the game is polished to such a lovely degree. I haven't had any crashes, I haven't had any bugs. It's been really, really nice to play. The audio cues are really good for stuff. Let's go for more armor, because I wonder if this will add to our lifesteal. Does this change? So it has changed this, which is really nice. Day of Judgment, Vampirism, lifesteal on hit. Right, so it hasn't changed that. So we should just completely ignore armor for now. Now, throughout the map, there is also drops of stuff. Some of them do nothing. Others, like this war totem, will give you damage increases, which is very nice. Other will give you gear. And all these things that the game gives you to do and unlock and pick and choose leads to a game that really does add to the... We got slimes. Really adds to the experience of building a character. It feels to me like a Path of Exile map, but in a very contained sort of ecosystem, where I have the ability to sort of jump into a game, build a really strong character, and also add to the progression of characters and other characters as well. Because if you don't equip, some characters can only use specific... Oh, that's a banger of a blessing, that is. Some characters can only use specific equipment and others, and then if a bit of equipment can be used by multiple different classes, it is bind on equip. So I can go and farm gear on my knight and then get a bunch of cool stuff for my sorcerer and then give it to my sorcerer when I'm ready, and that'd be really, really good. There is no sort of only knight gear drops with the knight. It is across the board, all of it. We got God of Conqueror. I'm just not a fan of God of Conqueror, honestly. I haven't had a run where Rapture really, really is great. We're going to ignore this. In fact, we're going to banish it so we don't get that again. And then we're probably going to go with Smite. I really do like Smite. Divine Shield is really good as well. Okay, yeah, so the levels themselves are the same every single time, and I think they're time-based. Oh, that could have hurt. That could have ended badly. Yeah, I think they're time-based, where depending on the time of the level, the new things always happen. Everything always happens in the same order, and that's good because you can plan. You can plan what perks to pick. Oh, I need AoE here because I'm going to start off with a lot of AoE, or this boss is going to be very single target damage focused, so I need to make sure I'm grabbing some single target damage perks in my build. So yeah, things like that. It works really, really well.
Lady Justice is harsh, but also merciful.
Another god here, so we're going to go and reroll. We're going to use our last reroll, and we got God of Fire, which I didn't really want, but... we'll do burning things. This is fine. Grab some meteors. It's not really what we wanted, though. It is slightly better than ice. All in all, this game does fulfill a power fantasy of mine of building a character to a very, very strong level, and you can end up doing some bonkers stuff with it. And I feel like what this has over Vampire Survivors is the fact that the build aspect of the game... There you go, it's Mortimer's art. The build aspect of the game is actually a little bit more persistent than Vampire Survivors. It has a little bit more the ability to sort of manipulate what you're going to be doing in game with the adept things. I haven't seen the ability to sort of pick and choose what gods are going to spawn in game, but with the alteration dices, you've seen that I have been re-rolling due to the equipment I have. I've been able to re-roll my gods to really pick and choose, or try and adjust the RNG so I can pick and choose what gods I really like. Do we want crit strike or more life or more evasion? Honestly, kind of want a crit strike. Yeah. So we've got this life link going here. We've got a lifesteal on a hit. We've got to kill everything on the map every 28 seconds or so. I'll kill this necromancer over here before he keeps spawning things in. The one thing we haven't got is the god that gives us more XP, which I do like. And this is the first boss fight of the game, and I get instantly slapped by that. So that's not going so well. So this is where I have to concentrate. But this is the first boss fight of the game. And you see I'm having to fight 2 bosses at once. I am doing a half-decent amount of damage to them. Yeah, I'm doing a good amount of damage. The curse is definitely helping here, though. The curse is very, 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 very strong. And it's... Oh, are we about to do it? I think this is it. It drops some gear and a box. So we open the box and we get a god blessing here. Oh, life regen. We could go... This restores more life from healing, which would help our vampirism. Or we can do life per second, which means we don't have to hit stuff. I feel like we should go life gen and then try and stack up on the heals, regeneration, and lifesteal. Actually, let's just do the lifesteal. We've already got lifesteal. It is working really, really nicely. We beat the last of the 2 bosses there. Let's pick up some gear and open the box for another blessing. Increases your damage. Yeah, we'll do this. Increase your spell damage. I don't really want anything from the Goddess of Fire, particularly. So, the damage of your non-attack skills, item skills, summons, and statuses. That's perfect. So, that's really good. Yeah, but the game really does offer you some sort of like constant progression that makes you feel like you can manipulate the way the game is going. And leads you to becoming very, very powerful. And if you enjoy... Oh, more spell damage. Yes, please. And if you enjoy sort of the PoE Diablo-style game and you also enjoy Vampire Survivors, I do think this game is an absolute no-brainer. I think it merges the 2 genres really, really well. And a lot of the time when a dev tries to merge several genres together, does miss the mark a little bit in the way that the systems sort of interact with each other. But this game doesn't feel like that. It does feel really, really strong, where the gearing system sort of fits into that survivor like genre really, really nicely, and we did start to see that with Vampire Survivors, and I feel like this is that next bit of progression. Also, the fact that they've had a look, and I think it's quite obvious, they've had a look at Hades and seen the way that they do gods, and taken that and added it to this same sort of style game is a really, really good idea. It works very, very nicely. Yeah, I think they've done an absolute phenomenal job here. We're going to go for more damage from our abilities here. Right now, because of that damage increase, stuff like Curse, stuff like our lifelink here is going to just be doing a phenomenal amount of damage. You can see we're tidying up really, really nicely. The run I just finished, I was during a chain lightning, and I wasn't a fan compared to the Curse, but Curse is definitely my favorite here. Being able to trigger it on kill is absolutely brilliant. We're going to pick up shards here. There's even blessings in the game where you can get the... Oh, is that... We got a mirror. We got a mythic drop. Nice. Evasion increase, health regeneration, and lifesteal alteration. We're going to save that, I think, for the assassin character because they use evasion. We've got some rerolls here. That's fine. I like my alteration rerolls on my mythic. We'll have a look at a lot of this after the game. That's what I tend to do. Ooh, master drops. No, that's not a good drop. We're just going to sell that. But yeah, so I feel like the systems work really, really well together. I feel like they've done a really good job of combining it. Honestly, if this game didn't get any more updates, it would still be a good game. The story would be missing a massive component because so far in the game, after 5 or 6 hours, I haven't seen death. But it's a really good game. I think they're on to a winner here. Ooh, what do we got? Smite chance. We'll go with Smite chance. And also get another one from the
Blazing.
box. Blazing. Oh, more damage. More damage. Yeah, I think this is a phenomenal start to a game. Brilliant early access game. Something they've made something they can really build on with each update they do. There should be an update at the time of recording. There should be an update in the next few days, actually. They're going to be adding in Act 2, but they did miss their last deadline. But at the same time, I would say with what they have already put out, making sure their next update is polished is the main sort of point here. Space warps around you. Okay, I just got a life link. More ravens. I feel like we need more ravens. I feel like we're not cursing enough things, so we'll get more ravens here. Yeah, absolutely phenomenal game. Really good design choices. Some of the artwork does need brushing up, but apart from that, I think if, like I said earlier, if you're a Diablo fan, if you're a Vampire Survivors fan, if you're a Hades fan, give this a go and see what you think, honestly. The gearing system alone is something that I've really sort of like got my teeth into, and I'm trying to make this my knight the best knight he can be with his getting as many mythics as I can. To support sort of the gameplay I like, making sure I have lots of alteration rolls, so that I can make sure I enter a run using the goddess's abilities, blessings that I want. It's a really nice little thing, because that's something in Hades I feel like there's some runs in Hades I just can't get going because I can't get the combinations I really like him. Gosh, there you go, I'll take that. But in this game I don't feel like I have that issue. So yeah. But yeah, that is Death Must Die. So this is Death Must Die. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. And yeah, we will see you next time for our next review. Cheers, guys. Bye.